Hey guys, so what we're looking at here is the underside of the Axial Yeti. These are the front suspensions, the front control arms, lower control arms, and what you can see here, this is the pin, screw, bolt, whatever you want to call it, that goes through this suspension mount, front suspension mount, through the control arm, and into the rear suspension mount. The problem with this is there's no support here in the middle. The front suspension mount is plastic and pretty flexible, and the screw itself is pretty darn thin. So what happens is the screw will bend, the screw will break. It happens all the time. RPM have tried to mitigate that somewhat. You can see that the gap here is a little bit smaller than the gap on the stock arms, but that still doesn't fix the problem. You can put a aluminum front mount on here and that helps as well. It still doesn't completely fix the problem. What does fix the problem is this piece of stainless steel tubing. It is 3/16 on the outside diameter, and I don't remember exactly what the inside diameter is. There'll be a link to this on Amazon, but the inside diameter of the tubing is exactly the right size for the bolt to go through. And what you do is you drill out your suspension arm, put the tubing in, cut the tubing to the right length of course, and then the bolt goes through that, and that makes a nice solid mount. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to kind of walk you through the steps, give you some dimensions, you know, how long each piece of the tubing needs to be, what drill bit you should use for a nice snug fit, and then we'll go from there. We're not going to be doing that with these stock arms. We're going to be doing it with these RPM arms because I'm going to be replacing those with these. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so here's what you're going to need. You're going to need a 3/16 drill bit. You're going to need your control arms. These are RPM new ones. And then you're going to need to get 2 lengths of that stainless steel tubing, which I have the link in the description, not an affiliate link, just trying to help you guys out. 3/16 tubing, 2 lengths at 1 and 11/16 inch long. You can also just kind of hold them up against your control arm and measure it that way. Once you cut them off, you're going to need to clean up the cuts because the holes are going to have some burrs in them, and on the outside as well. I used a file, and then I just used my 3/16 drill bit on the inside to just kind of drill out that hole a little bit to clean it up. Mine's not perfect, one's actually longer than the other, but they're pretty close, and I think they'll be just fine. So once you get these, put those aside. Then we need to drill out the holes in the control arms themselves. Now it's plastic, shouldn't be too hard to do, but you want to make sure you try and go as straight as possible, so just follow the hole that's already in there. It should be pretty easy. I'm going to try it now. I haven't done it yet. I'm doing this around the camera, so if this doesn't go super well right off the bat, I might do it off camera, but let's just see how this goes. Yeah, so I'm going to do this off camera because I really don't want to mess these control arms up, and I want to be able to be looking at them while I'm doing them. So let me get this hole drilled, and I'll be right back, and we'll get those rods pushed in. Alright, so we got the holes drilled out. You can see those are quite a bit bigger than the stock holes. Plenty of meat left on these arms in order for them to still have the strength that they need to not break. Now we just need to push this tube in here. When you drill a 3/16 hole in this kind of plastic, it's going to shrink up a little bit, and since this tube is also 3/16, it's a pretty tight fit. I'm going to go out in my garage and use my vise to push this together. You may need to tap it lightly with a hammer, or if you have a vise you can push them together. Whatever you need to do, maybe a little bit of lubricant. I like it a little bit tight because I don't want this slopping around in here. So let me get that done, and I'll show you what the end result looks like. Okay, so that's done. The hole was pretty small. Made it pretty tight getting this piece of tubing in. I think on the second one what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the drill run in the hole for a few seconds, just because I was able to do it with a vise and a few other tools, but you guys might not have those tools. So let me try running the drill through there a few times after getting the holes drilled and see if that gives enough room to where it's not quite so hard to get in there. So let me get the other one done, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I let the drill run in the hole for just about 5 seconds after the hole was drilled through, and let's see if that helps this go in. Now, like I said, the last one I had to use a vise and quite a bit of force to get in. So let's see if I can just push this in by hand. Okay, that's a good start. Couldn't do that with the other one. Alright, pushing through. Get the second side started. And it's going to be a little tight again. So you may actually want to chamfer the outside edge of one end of this tube so it goes in there a little bit easier. Alright, so got a light chamfer. It's a little bit ugly, but I think it'll work around the edge of this. And I think that will help me get this, once it gets through the first one, kind of get it started into that second hole, because it really didn't want to get started last time. Of course, it would also probably help if I took all this swarf off of here as well. Alright, let's go ahead and try and push this through again. I'll do it off camera. Alright, I'm going to run the drill through it a little bit more. It's still really, really tight on this one side. So I'm just going to get the drill. Now this is plastic, so you don't want to go too far, because it might end up getting too big pretty quickly, and then of course you might be buying a new control arm. So let's push this through again, see what happens. Alright, so it went through that side. I'll see if we can get it started on the other side. Okay, yeah, it went right in. Let's push this on something harder. Okay, there we go. So that's the second one. You can see I made this a little bit too short. I might remake this one, I'm not sure. It's still sticking out this side a tiny bit. So I'll get that pushed in with a screwdriver or something else. And that's pretty much it. I can't put them on my truck right now because when I took the old control arms off, both of my screws are bent. So I got to wait for some new screws to arrive. But this should make it to where that problem never happens again. So time will tell. Okay guys, well I hope this is helpful. Like I said, I'll put a link in the description to where you can get the stainless steel tubing from, and then all you would need is a 3/16 drill bit and, you know, maybe a file and a hacksaw to cut this off, or a Dremel or anything like that will work. And then hopefully these will never have to be done again. Well, thanks for watching. We're going to be doing a bunch more work on the Yeti soon, and we will be maybe doing some running videos and who knows what else. So, but it should be fun. All right, thanks guys.